Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to the class of Money and Banking and Finance. Dear students, today is our 12th lecture of Money and Banking and Finance. Today we will discuss the major central banks of the world. Dear students, today's lecture is very easy lecture. It does not require explanation. Everything has been written in the slides. Today's lecture is only informative lecture. It's not explanatory lecture. It will not require any explanation. But still, we will try to explain some concepts, but it's easy to understand for you guys. You can easily understand. Simply you are supposed to read it out, and you will understand the subject of today's lecture. So let me start with the introduction. In this part, we will study the structure and evolving role of central banks across the globe. The central bank's work is vital to the day-to-day operations of any modern economy. Their day-to-day operations are huge. They have plenty of day-to-day operations of the modern economies. Today we have 170 central banks in the world. Large and small, 170 central banks in the world. And it will highlight a central question that has become politically controversial, that what's the proper relationship between a central bank and the government. So this question arises when we try to understand the central banks. So the answer of this question will be very easy when we discuss today's lecture. So the answer will be available. So let's start with the central bank. Each and every country in the world uses money for their day-to-day operations, as well as for industries, for inflation, supply of money in the market, and the whole economy. Therefore, every country has a government institution. As we study that money is central point for the country. Every country uses money, currency money. Every country faced with the issues regarding money. So therefore every country has a government institution. Every country must have a government institution, and the purpose of government institution is to influence and measure the influence and money supply. So if a country doesn't have any government institution, so then that country cannot measure the influences of the money and the money supply. So maybe possible in that country inflation will rise, inflation will be increased, because they don't have any government institution in that country. If a country has a government institution to control and measure the money, influences and other factors of the economy, then they must have a central bank with them. And that is that government institution is called central bank. For example, we can say Federal Reserve System in USA, which is simply called Fed. Simple name of the Federal Reserve System in USA is Fed. Shortly, they call it Fed. So it's example of central bank in USA. Bank of England, it's also major bank in the world of UK, United Kingdom. Bank of Canada, Bank of Japan, European Central Bank for Europe. So these are the major banks. We will study all about these banks. And before we discuss that, there are 170 major and small and large banks in the world. Central banks only. Not all commercial banks are included in these banks. These are only central banks. These are government institutions. These banks are government institutions, and the roles and functions of central banks we studied in lecture 11. Recall from that. So today we only discuss that how the central banks are formulated, how central banks are connected with the government, and how central banks perform their functions, day-to-day operations. So let me start with the Federal Reserve System in USA. The first, Fed. Before I told you that today's lecture is not explanatory lecture. Today's lecture is only informative lecture. So the explanation is avoided. Everything is written in your slides. So what's Federal Reserve System? It's begun its operations in 1940. 1914 it started its functions, it started its operations. At the head of the Federal Reserve System, there are 7 members, which is called Board of Governors. At the head of Federal Reserve System, there are 7 members, which called BOGs, or Board of Governors. And headquarters of the Fed is in Washington, D.C. Each governor is appointed by the President of the United States. All 7 members are appointed by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. Senate confirms that these 7 members of the BOGs must have authorities in the Federal Reserve System, and they serve for 14 years term. They are BOGs, they are Board of Governors, they are 7 members, they are selected by the President of the United States and approved by the Senate, confirmed by the Senate, and they serve for 14 years term. BOGs control the Federal Reserve System. It determines monetary policy, reserve requirements, and discount policy. And all about this monetary policy, reserve requirements, and discount policy, you better know about these. We have studied in the previous lectures that what is monetary policy. If you remember, we studied the monetary policy. I think it was in lecture 7 or lecture 6, as well as reserve requirements. Also we studied in the commercial banks that how reserve requirements works in a state, and the discount policy. We also studied the discount policy of the commercial banks. So monetary policy is a policy by which government institutions or central banks control the money supply in the market. As well as reserve requirements, there are 2 types of reserve requirements. One reserve requirement is required from the commercial banks with the central bank, and one reserve requirement is, another reserve requirement is of the government's reserve requirement with the international banks. So these both types of reserve requirements are controlled by the central bank. And discount policy, same like the monetary policy. Discount policy is a policy by which governments control. It's a tool, it's a technique. Discount policy is a technique. Discount policy is a tool which is used in the central banks. Central banks use this policy, this technique to control this money supply in the market. by raising interest rates and by decreasing interest rates. If the central bank want to control the inflation, at that time control the supply of money, at that time they increase the interest rate and they collect money from the market, and all the money goes to the central bank. When or the central banks, when the government want to increase the supply of money in the market, so they decrease the interest rate and increase the supply of money in the market. So this is discount policy, and discount policy is a technique, a tool or a policy which is used by the central banks. So the board of governors are supposed to determine the monetary policy, the implementation of monetary policy, the reserve requirement policies, and the discount policies. US President chose the chairman of the BOGs. There must be a chairman for the Federal Reserve requirement, Federal Reserve System, with Senate approved. So always everything Senate approves for the Federal Reserve System among the 7 governors, and for 4 years renewable term. So after 4 years, every governor, every chairperson will be renewed and selected from the 7 governors of the Fed. So the chairperson is not acquired from the outside. The chairperson is selected from the internal 7 members of the board of governors. And every chairman of the board of governors will serve for only 4 years, and it will be renewable. Clear? BOG is independent of the US federal government in 3 ways. There are 3 ways by which the BOGs are the independent from the government of USA. The BOG earns its revenue from 12 district banks. It means that the Fed has 12 district banks in the USA and does not ask Congress for money. They will not ask the Congress to give or to raise money from the Congress. Every 2 years, the US President appoints 1 member to the BOGs, or 14 years divided by 7 members. So this prevents a newly elected president from appointing all members at once. So it avoid to select the 1 member for the purpose of avoiding all of it once. It's all of once. The government cannot completely audit the Fed. So therefore, we can say that Federal Reserve System is a independent institution from the government. So government cannot completely audit the Fed. Less government knows, the less it can tamper with things. It means that government cannot interfere in the central bank, which is Federal Reserve System of the USA. So it's independent. It will not ask for money from the Congress, from the government, or from the Senate. They will earn their revenue from the 12 district banks, and they are not completely audited by the government, and government will not tamper with the things of the Federal Reserve System. The Federal Reserve System comprises of 12 Federal Reserve Banks of the United States, which is decomposed into 12 regions. Each bank has its own stockholder, directors, and a president. Each bank member has its own stockholders, its own directors, and its own president. Furthermore, every national commercial bank is required to purchase stocks of the Federal Reserve Bank in its district. So national and commercial banks are not allowed to purchase the stocks of another district bank of the Federal Reserve System. So they are supposed to purchase the stocks of their own district's bank, Federal Reserve Bank, which are equivalent to 6% of the commercial bank's net equity. It means that they must have 6% of their equity with the Federal Reserve System of their own district. They are not supposed to keep their 6% equity with the headquarter or main office of the Federal Reserve System. They are only supposed to purchase, or they are only supposed to keep their 6% of equity with the commercial banks, with the banks at the Federal Reserve System bank in their own district. Next, the Bank of Canada was founded in 1934. The directors are appointed by the government for 3 years, and they appoint the governor who has 7-year term. It means that they have directors which are appointed for 3 years, and they have 7 governors who are appointed by the directors. A governing council consisting of 4 deputy governors. They also have 4 deputy governors, and the governor is the policy maker body, and these governors or these 4 deputy governors are the policy making body. They make policies for the Bank of Canada that make decisions about monetary policy. They also have responsibility of making decisions about the monetary policy of the Bank of Canada. The Bank Act was amended in 1967 to give the ultimate responsibility for monetary policy to the government. It means that they are not responsible for the implementation of monetary policy in the country. The implementation, the policy making regarding the monetary policy, the inflation, the deflation, or the supply of money, the decreasing of money in the market. So all these responsibilities are given to the government in 1967. On paper, the Bank of Canada is not as independent as the Federal Reserve. So Federal Reserve System was more independent. Before we discuss that, government cannot completely audit the Federal Reserve System. It means that it's independent. Government cannot interfere. But in the case of Bank of Canada, so the most of their functions are given to the government. Government can influence all the decisions of the Bank of Canada. In practice, however, the Bank of Canada does essentially what? Control monetary policy. They also control money in the practice. In the event of disagreement with bank and the government, the Minister of Finance can issue a directive that bank must follow. If there is disagreement between the Bank of Canada and the state of Canada, the government of Canada, then the Minister of Finance can send them a guide, a directions which the Bank of Canada must follow that directions. However, because the directive must be in writing and specific and applicable for the specific period, so it is unlikely that such a directive would be issued by the government. The goal for monetary policy, a target for inflation, is set jointly by the Bank of Canada and the government. So this is it denotes that, it shows that the Bank of Canada is not as independent as Fed. So the Bank of Canada has less goal independence than Fed. Next, Bank of England, founded in 1694, and one of oldest central bank in the world. Bank Act 1946 gave government a statutory authority. Statutory authority means the Bank of England can make laws and regulations and policies, or Bank of England. The court equivalent to board of directors of the BOE is made up of the 1 governor and 2 deputy governors appointed for 5 years and 16 non-executive directors appointed for 3 years term. So until 1997, the Bank of England was the least independent central bank in the world, because the decisions to raise and lower interest rates resided not with the Bank of England but with the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the person who was Chancellor of the bank. So he was responsible for the raising and lowering the interest rates of the England. At the time of Labour government in 1997, that era was the era of Labour government. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Gordon Brown, made a surprise announcement that the Bank of England would henceforth have the power to set interest rates. At that time, in 1997, the power of raising and lowering the interest rate was given. The authority of the raising and lowering the interest rates was given to the Bank of England. However, the bank was not granted total independence. Still, they were not full independent, complete independent. The government can overrule the bank and set rates in extreme economic circumstances. Well, there were the deficit economic circumstances, the economic crisis at that time. The government had to set the interest rates, and government had to overrule the Bank of England. But it was for a limited period. When the economic crisis were settled back, then the government again decreased their role on the Bank of England. Nonetheless, as in Canada, because overruling the bank would be so public and is supposed to occur only in highly unusual circumstances and for a limited time, it is likely to be a rare occurrence. It's a rare occurrence for the Bank of England. UK is not a member of the European Monetary Union, EMU. UK is not the member of European Monetary Union. The Bank of England makes its monetary policy decisions independently from the European central banks. They are independent they are not member of the European Central Bank. The decision to set interest rate resides in the Monetary Policy Committee, made up of the one governor, two deputy directors, before told, two members appointed by the governors after consultation with the chancellor, normally central bank officials, and four outside economic experts appointed by the chancellor. The inflation target for the Bank of England is set by the chancellor. So the Bank of England is also less goal independent than the Fed. Next, the Bank of Japan. The Bank of Japan was founded in 1882. It's also the oldest central bank of the world. Monetary policies determine the policy board, which is composed of the one governor, two vice governors, six outside members appointed by the cabinet and approved by the parliament, all of whom serve for 5 years. All of them. Governor also serve for 5 years, vice governor also, two vice governors also serve for 5 years, and six outside members which are approved by the cabinet and parliament also serve for 5 years. Until recently, the Bank of Japan was not formally independent of the government. They were not, with the ultimate power residing with the Ministry of Finance. It means that most of authorities were with the Ministry of Finance. However, the Bank of Japan law 1998 was the first major change in the power of the Bank of Japan in 55 years. So this law changed situation and working proposition of the Bank of Japan. Now, Bank of Japan can formulate independently only three objectives: the objective of monetary policy, price stability and inflation, and setting independent goals to the Bank of Japan. So these three objectives are independently formulated by the Bank of Japan. So next, European Central Bank. The European Central Bank manages the euro and is located in Frankfurt, Germany. European Central Bank began operations in January 1999. It was established recently. European Central Bank primary goals are to achieve price stability in Eurozone, keeping the euro stable, and keep low inflation rate in the Eurozone. So initially, Eurozone was very successful in terms of GDP than rival United States. They were successful in terms of GDP. The euro was appreciating against the US dollar. So it was the stability of the euro, as it's true to become the new international currency at that time. And initially in 1999 and 2000, 1999 and 2000, euro was doing well until the 2008. Till the 2008, it was very well. But in 2008, financial crisis struck the world's economy. After financial crisis, the Eurozone began losing ground against the US. several European member countries such as Greece, Ireland, Portugal, Spain and Italy. So these are all were affected by the financial crisis of the 2008. Were plagued with the severe budget problems at that time in 2008 that led to the European debt crisis in 2012. So this reason affected the European member countries debt crisis in 2012. Structure of the European Central Bank is similar to the structure of the Federal Reserve System. They are almost same. The Governor Council decides and formulate monetary policy for the European Central Bank and is similar to the BOG of the Fed. So they are same. The Governing Council is composed of Executive Board, 17 governors. The governors are the heads from their country's central bank that are members of the Eurozone. The Executive Board implements monetary policy and manages the day-to-day operations of the ECB, similar to the Federal Open Market Committee. And the board has a president, vice president and 4 additional members whom the European Council. European Council consists of head of state of the Euro member countries. The European Council appoints members to the Executive Board for on 8-year non-printable terms. They will not be printable in 8 years. Furthermore, the board members' terms are staggered, so the European Council cannot change the board members all at once. President of the Executive Council is also the president of the Governing Council. The European Central Bank President is selected from a central bank whose country is a member of the Eurozone. Euro countries retain their central banks, even countries that have adopted the Euro. Countries' central banks remain independent of the Euro members, and the top official of the central banks in the Eurozone is a governor and a member of the Governing Council. Currently, 17 Euro member countries adopted the Euro, which means the Governing Council has 17 governors. The governors have more influence on monetary policy within the European Central Bank than the president of the 12 Federal Reserve Banks have over the Board of Governors. So consequently, Board of Governors centralizes the power within the European Central Bank. So this was your today's lecture. Thank you so much. It's very easy. Simply you can read it and you will understand the concept of central banks. Dear students, there are a lot of central banks. Before we studied that there are 170, but these are major central banks in the world who are leaders in the central bank market. So they are leaders, and remember one thing, all of the central banks are the government banks. They are government banks, government influence all these banks. So therefore they work for the governments of the state of the country. So thank you so much.